There has never been a greater and illustrious figure such as Napoleon Bonaparte of the French Empire. And so it was. After Empire Total War was released in 2009, we had Napoleon Total War release on February the 23rd of 2010. On launch, it was very successful. Fans praised the unique battle system that had been introduced. Basically, it felt like the game Empire should have been, and in many respects it should have been a DLC rather than a standalone game. But I can understand why Creative Assembly opted to make this a standalone game. This game has many successes, many flaws, and I want to cover today why this game is underrated, why this game has been forgotten, and why this game needs to come back to the limelight of Total War fans. That is what I am trying to create in my video. Join me as we figure out what made Napoleon Total War so great and why you need to revisit it in the coming years. First, let me start off with something simple. Napoleon Total War is not necessarily a complex game to understand. It immerses you into the period with immersive historical research, great event art, great historical grounding. The battles seem absolutely fantastic. The roar of cannon fire and musket fire and cavalry charging, it definitely brings that oil style painting that the developers were going for. You can really tell that the developers really loved making this game because Napoleon is a Chad. It has to be said. Most or the reason you're playing Napoleon Total War is because you want to play Napoleon, his grand army, and conquer all of Europe. Or you can change that. You can be the British, you can be the Austrians, you can be the Prussians, or you can be Russia. You can rewrite Napoleonic history as you see fit. Because this game is essentially an alternate history game. It's a game where you reverse Napoleon's fortunes. Another aspect that this game has of this game is that its campaign is well thought out. You can raid roads, you can build supplies. If you want to receive boosts for your army, you can build gunsmiths or musket manufactories. You can build vineyards, you can build navies. And ship combat is absolutely fantastic. I would definitely say 101% that the ships are amazing, and the Creative Assembly did a really good job with ship battles, and they are absolutely fantastic. One thing that I must also note is that Napoleon Total War has a thriving multiplayer scene, along with fantastic modifications. But if you want a more historically accurate multiplayer mod, then try Napoleonic Total War 3. It's recommended. But even vanilla multiplayer stands amazing. You can fight these awesome, epic, intense battles without 1 versus 1 to 4 versus 4. And there are so many good moments in this game. Plus, the way the battle maps have been constructed is that you have to make use of your terrain, use of the streets, use of the battles, use of everything. If your soldiers are on a high ground, they can't fire down so effectively. Perhaps. It depends. Could march all the way up, their fire doesn't reach. Cannon fire is devastatingly important in this game. I cannot emphasize that anymore. Plus, if infantry form squares and you charge cavalry, finished. Napoleon Total War also has a fantastic selection of historical battles that really guides the player to play these fun, well-crafted, scripted historical battles. Now, about the AI, I wouldn't say the AI is the best, but it is serviceable. It can definitely be challenging at times, but the AI doesn't form straight lines as much as you would want it to. It is, however, very effective in sending cavalry into big, immense charges that are easy to get rid of. Here's the main thing. While the campaign is important, and I will discuss more about the campaigns when we get onto it, really what sells this game is the battles. the way the battles are fought, the way soldiers are pitted against one another, the way elite units smash through other units, and the effective use of cavalry, artillery, and infantry. I think they nailed it. While I'm not a fan of the vanilla speed of combat, it is still fun. And that's the best thing about historical Napoleon Total War. It is fun. It is such a simplified style of combat, and anybody can learn it. You know, if there was a Total War game that I was recommended, let's say we had Rome Total War, Shogun 2, I would recommend Napoleon. Because Napoleon has its features well thought out. Let's say this, if you're in a campaign and you need to go attack a city, you can attack a trade route via campaign. Your troops can suffer attrition, whether they are in the desert or in snow. And that's a great thing, you know. There is a lot to think about here. And the other aspect that Napoleon does have is that you can literally build as much as you want, but when the AI attacks you, it can be devastating. Napoleon's campaign is limited, however. It lacks the big world that Empire had, because the Napoleonic Wars were fought on a tiny but global scale. And the other aspect is, I wish Napoleon encompassed the whole world. But I can see why they opted to just use Europe. I don't, however, see why the campaign should have ended in 1812 when you're missing out the campaigns of 1813 to 1814 and 1815. I think they could have extended that date a little bit longer. The way Napoleon's campaigns are introduced, they are told in a very story-style, narrative way from a French point of view. And I absolutely love the story writing, the immersion, the music, and this has been one of Richard Bertot's fantastic soundtracks. He created one of the best soundtracks for any Napoleonic Total War game. And seriously, there has been no game like Napoleon Total War that really focuses on this era so much. Hats off to the developers, hats off to the music composer Richard Bertot, and hats off for creating such a fun game. Because I think if Total War were to do a Victoria-style Total War with these mechanics, fantastic. Really, really good. And you'll be playing the 3 campaigns. First, you play Italy, where you will conquer Italy and try to conquer Austria. Second, you play as Egypt. You will play Napoleon's army and conquer Egypt. And then you will also play Europe and reverse Napoleon's tragic story. Then of course there's the Battle of Waterloo, which you can fight in, and you can definitely change the history of that day that happened. You know, the British can actually, during your campaign in Europe, actually send an army to conquer Paris. That's fun, that's fantastic. But Napoleon's AI does tend to be a bit weird here and there, especially on the campaign. Diplomacy is a hit or a miss, but it feels appropriate. What I'm trying to say is, at the end of the day, Napoleon Total War was a fantastic game that I believe quickly became forgotten. And it just needed more DLC, in my opinion. If you play the Peninsula campaign, you start in 1811. You don't start during the start of the Peninsula War. But the main thing is, the French are retreating, Wellington is coming for revenge. And there's a lot of new mechanics. You know, you can have agents from the Spanish, French and British side, both trying to convince all of each other that they are the righteous cause in the conquest of Spain. And there is so much detail in this game. You will fight some of the most fiercest troops ever. You can literally recreate the Napoleonic story. And even though this game is limited in scope, its ambition is wide. I've played this game since launch, and I've had this game for such a long time, I still recommend this game 101%. This game is definitely a game that you need to buy during the Steam winter sale of this year. This is a must buy. And I love it. It's a great game. You should definitely try it out. There is no game like this that focuses on the illustrious Napoleon and his grand army. So, don't forget to leave a like, share, comment and subscribe, and I will see you for the next one.